ask people, do you have any pictures of pigs? If so, send them to me. Let's get a cycle, you know? So that all started. Gene saw me do that, and then he said, look, he remembered that I had asked for that model way back when. He's like, all right, fine, let's do this. And that was exciting. But between the time that Gene agreed to that, he was in the middle of working on his calendar, his Cooperfish calendar for 2010. This was late 2008. And he had a lot of work to do through 2009 to get up his calendar. So the idea of our boards was like on the back burner. And by this time, I had known Gene since 1996. This is already 12 years. But I in that time started looking up boards from Jim Phillips, Mark Andrini with Al. You know, they all had some pigs going on. I was out there trying to find anybody that's still alive, that's still shaping pigs. I sold all my other quiver and just was all focused on trying to get as many boards as possible from people that have a tradition in building pigs. And from that experience, writing all these different boards, and another thing about me is I'm never one to measure. I'm not the guy that gets out the calipers, and because when I built Gene's site, he was so mental about, you know, I couldn't measure his boards, because if I did, and if I was off by, you know, 1/32 of a centimeter, then I was misrepresenting him, you know. And I think maybe that just kind of, and not only that, my math background, my theoretical math background, I don't even believe, I can't trust my hand. I can't cut a straight line, much less draw one. And so people that are caring enough about numbers to ask a question about what are the numbers on this board, I can't convince myself that I'm accurately representing what the numbers are. And it's important to some people, but it's not important to me. You know, so I in writing all these other boards, I didn't really take precise measurements on them to say, oh, this is what this board is, this is what this board isn't. But I acquired some boards, and I rode the boards, and I accumulated experience on these particular boards. And then Gene found this Velzy, and he wanted to go with that shape. And so that's how the blackboard was birthed, out of this Velzy shape that Gene was really attracted to. And then after a while of writing those boards, I didn't feel like I contributed to the design of that board at all. Gene, in fact, told me, you know, you're just the marketer. You're not the designer. And it's true, you know. That's how that relationship was. But the thought came to me to have the opportunity to actually have feedback on design. And I recalled my experience with Matt. Matt is so passionate about the functionality of a board. He wants to make a good board that works. And I wanted to talk to somebody that was like, Gene and I collaborated on a board where I was in the shaping bay with him, and we made a board before he came across this Velzy. And it was a board, Gene, like, looking at the board, you know how I told you guys about that pop-out that I had, that like you would pick it up and you'd think this board can't work? Well, that's kind of like what happened when Gene and I were in the shaping bay together. Gene would probably be nauseated at that board if he saw it again. It was pretty fat, he thought it had ears, or it had this flat spot up towards the nose on the template. He was kind of not into